Yeah, perfect. What's up, coaches? Coach Bushy here. Campers as well. This is going to be our last session of Individual Skills Camp. So welcome to that. Really excited to bring you guys a new type of different camp session that we've done in the past in this last week. So we've got our athletic trainer, Connor Doherty, with us. He's going to run through basically today's workout. It's going to be a list of different types of drills and things to be working on. Connor is our athletic trainer for our men and women's wheelchair basketball teams, along as working with our track program. So want to introduce Connor and allow Connor to talk a little bit about what he does with our athletes and what his season looks like when he's working with our student athletes.
Yep. Hello, everyone. My name is Connor Doherty, as Matt said. My job as the athletic trainer for the teams mainly is working on the medical side of things. So Coach Steph and Coach Matt will do more of the coaching and the X's and O's, and I'll be working with injuries, working with rehab, taping, first aid, things like that. As well, I kind of coordinate the strength training for our basketball team and also help with the track team a little bit, but their track coaches have been great in kind of teaching me some of the strength things that I'm going to pass on today. As well, just kind of coordinating some of our traveling for tournaments and yeah, kind of jack of all trades, helping out wherever I can with the team. If you just need someone to talk to or something else like that, that's kind of my job, just filling in the cracks wherever I can.
So Connor, what would it look like for a daily workout for one of our athletes in their gym?
So it's usually about 13 to 14 exercises, ranging for about an hour. Usually our athletes will come in 2 or 3 times a week, depending on where we are in the season. If it's preseason, if it's during the season, it might be condensed a little bit. We're traveling for tournaments, but usually about 3 times a week, coming in for about an hour will be the whole total lift time.
Awesome. So today you're going to walk us through a list of different workouts that you do with our athletes throughout the season. I know there's going to be a variation of different workouts and then when you'd be doing them and talking a little bit about how to prep it and put your own workouts together. So I will lead it to you, Connor, to take us through that workout.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So up here right now, we have kind of the layout of what we're going to do today. This is kind of a general workout plan of what we would do on a normal weekday lift. This is probably more of our like preseason where we're doing a little more reps in each of these, but I think this is a great opening to lifting and starter for lifting for some of the younger athletes and people who haven't really lifted or done some strength training like that before. As you can see, we have our warm-up in the beginning, and then coming through that, we have different parts of our main lift that I'll explain once we get there. But this is kind of the layout, and we'll show this again at the end if you want to take a screenshot or a picture or something like that, just to have with you when you are doing your next training session. And with that, we'll get right into it. So warm-up, very important. Always want to get your heart rate up, want to get moving before you do any kind of activity, either in lifting or in practice. Can help reduce injuries. And you don't just want to do some static stretching of crossing your arms for 30 seconds, other ways for 30 seconds. You really want to get moving, get your heart rate up, get your body temp up, really do some more cardiovascular stuff for your warm up. So play that, Matt. Right here, we have just the arm bike. This is something we'll do in the gym because we don't really have those in our practice facility. But here, our one model, Caitlin Eaton, AKA Squirrel, she is on the arm bike here. Usually we'll have them do it for 5 to 10 minutes on this cardio portion. So here she's just doing forward about 2 minutes. We condensed it a little bit, but she'll do about 2 minutes going forward at like a jog, 50 to 75%. And then coming backwards, doing that reverse, 50 to 75% for 2 minutes again. After she does that, she kind of works into a little more of a sprint going forward. Do that about 30 seconds forward and then 30 seconds backwards. And then maybe repeat that one more time. And as long as you're feeling like you're got that blood flowing, feeling good, to be a good start for that cardio warm-up portion. I know there's a lot of different classes and different ways to warm up. Some of our lower classes will use the arm bike. Some of our higher classes may do a treadmill or go for a jog outside, use a bike, something like that. But tons of different options. If you don't have any of those machines available to you though, go to the next clip and we have our other model here, Jonathan McNamara. He's one of our men's basketball players. This is just this would be good before practice or in the gym. If you don't have any of those machines, just doing some more body movements to get your shoulders, arms, body warm. You can play that. And so you see here, he's just doing some arm circles to start out with, going forward 30 seconds. Then he's going to go backwards 30 seconds, really working on going through those motions deliberately and not just flailing your arms around, really working on doing those fine movements. Then he's going to be going across body. Again, with these, you want to be stretching out your chest, going forward through that full range of motion. 30 seconds for those again, up and down, the high-low movement. 30 seconds, that's going to be stretching out your lats when you're going up. Really, again, working on a different angle of your shoulders. And then doing that 90-90 movement, working on a rotator cuff stretching, activation, just really getting those shoulders warm. So if you do about 30 seconds on each of those, you can run back through that again, 30 seconds again on each, and that'll get you to about that 5-minute mark where you should be feeling ready to go. With those movements, these are just a couple of ones that we use. There's tons of different arm movements that you could do with this. You could do big circles. You could do cross-body sword to saber movements. Whatever works for you and kind of fits what you want to get warm for whatever activity you're doing is really the important thing. Next part of our warm-up is a little bit of muscle activation and mobility. So this is just some TheraBand exercises we'll do either in the gym or at practice. You can play that, Matt. So here we have Caitlin again. She's doing band pull-aparts, keeping those elbows in, palms up, and just pulling apart that band, really squeezing those shoulder blades together. With a lot of these, we're trying to open up the front of our shoulders. We get a lot of forward pressing movements with pushing in our ball chairs. So we want to really strengthen that back and try to open up the front of our shoulders. So again, here she's doing some reverse flies and X's. So hitting some different angles, pulling across, keeping those palms forward and squeezing that back together. After that, she's just doing some overhead pull aparts. So pulling that band apart, going up and over. Again, if you just do that motion, even without a band, you're gonna feel a big stretch in the front of those shoulders. And we're just trying to open up the front of your shoulders, stretch those pecs. And you'll get some back muscle activation with this as well. For those, do them probably 10 to 15 per one. And that should kind of, after you get that cardio, muscles warm, then we do that, activate some more of our muscles, and then we're ready to get into our practice, ready to get into our strength training session. Another option that I put in here are dowel stretches. This is one that I thought would be good for maybe like home exercises. So you could use, if you just had a stick like this, if you had a broomstick or a mop, you could use those too. But we can play that and you'll see J-Mac here, John, he's just rotating that. These are our dowel rotations. So again, working on stretching out the front of our shoulders, really getting that shoulder high up there, bringing it back and around and using that dowel to help pull back that arm a little bit. So we'll do about 10 to 15 of those. And then he'll do the shoulder over and back. So just pressing up and down. So this is kind of a military press motion is what we call it when we're pressing up like that. But he's going to be pressing up and coming back behind his head. He's bringing his head forward a little bit. You don't want to bring your head forward too much, and you really want to work on reaching back farther again to open things up in the front. But those are a good example of that, of a little cue that you want to do. Reaching up, bringing it back, stretch out the front of those shoulders is where you should be feeling most of these. So that kind of wraps up our warm-up portion. Usually for that, we'll have people do, like I was saying, that one cardio portion and then more of a muscle activation stretching portion as well. To be honest, most of our athletes don't all do the same thing. It really depends on what that individual person is trying to work on or what they're having issues with. So it's really important to just find something that works for you. So say you're at practice and you don't have equipment like this, you just have a TheraBand. Maybe you do 3 to 4 laps around the gym, do a couple down and back, like quick sprints in your chair, then you come back, do some band work, and then you're ready to practice. But you should take that 5 to 10 minutes before practice to really get ready for what you're about to do, either doing those like chair skills day of hard pushing or working in the gym, doing some forceful movements. So that wraps up our warm-up part. So the first part of our lifts, we usually focus on mobility again. Really don't want to, working on this mobility like this can help reduce some of the injuries. And then when we want to have that full shoulder range of motion. So when we are doing these lifts, we're strengthening our whole range of motion, not just working right here. You're getting everything. When you're doing those shoulder presses, we don't just want to be right here. We want to be all the way up to the top. So our first mobility exercise, super easy one, pretty simple, not easy to do, I guess though, is just back versus wall rainbow. Here you see Caitlin sitting there and she is just trying to keep your back, lower back, upper back, head, elbows, hands all against the wall. Looks easy when she's doing it there, but believe me, if you're doing 10 to 15 of those, 1 or 2 sets, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna burn in your back. Even if you're just sitting there right now trying it, if you just try to keep it far back as you can and going up and down controlled motion, you're really gonna feel your shoulder blades pinching together and your posterior shoulder really working to try to keep everything back there. Again, like I was saying, this is, again, a lot of these mobility exercises, activation exercises are gonna be working on, if you wanna play again, are gonna be working on opening up the front of our shoulders. I don't know if you've ever noticed after practice, or you might just notice that our shoulders are rotating forward some. That's because in wheelchair basketball, wheelchair track, you're gonna be pushing a lot forward, a lot of pressing, a lot of internal rotation, and we wanna focus on doing some of the opposite of that to help with shoulder health. Next one. Okay, next we have our supine scarecrows. So what supine means is that you're laying face up. Later we'll get into prone, which is opposite when you're face down. So supine though, just so you know, is face up. And these are our scarecrows, and they're called that because when you're doing them, kind of look like a scarecrow when you're up there. But play that, Matt. Basically for this, it's gonna be working on like your shoulder rotation, rotator cuff flexibility, as well as some strengthening. You're just going backwards and forth into internal rotation and external rotation with a small weight. We have these heavy balls here, but you could use a lighter weight dumbbell, a can, a bottle of water, a bottle with some sand in it, whatever works for you or whatever you have available. Form on these are pretty important. So you want to have that elbow in line with our shoulder up here, that 90-90 position. So elbow in line with our shoulder. And then we're just going forward. Can you play it again, Matt? Going into internal rotation and external rotation. We also don't want our shoulder joint to be moving too much. You kind of notice when John goes into internal rotation here, his shoulder really wants to pop forward. You want to keep it down to the table when you're going into that internal rotation, so you're stretching your shoulder and not letting it just compensate when you're going there. We're trying to go all the way forward, all the way back, holding that for about a second there to really get that stretch and coming forward. This is going to be really good for rotator cuff, shoulder health, shoulder maintenance, getting that full range of motion with our rotation at the shoulder. After it finishes up here, we can go on to the next one. Okay, next is our sword to saber movement. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but this is another mobility, muscle activation kind of thing. It's considered a PNF stretching, which is a little more advanced level of stretching where it's working some more like neuromuscular stuff. But for this one, we'll play the clip and you're going to be going, it's called the sword to saber because it looks like you're taking that sword from its holster, pulling it out and wielding it. You want to go from internal rotation into that external rotation with our thumb pointing back at the top. You'll see it a little better when John's doing it in the next clip, but it should really be working on that posterior shoulder and then see how his thumb is finishing in the back at the end. Again, that's going to help with that external rotation. So really focus on that. John's doing it with just the TheraBand there, where you can do that in your ball chair before a game or practice. You could do that at home. And then Squirrel's doing it here with just a little hand weight. So the TheraBand is preferred. You could have it attached to the wall like Squirrel was doing at the beginning. You could do it like John was doing, holding it in your lap as long as there's enough tension. Or you could do it with a weight, but TheraBand is probably preferred in that situation. With that, you're making sure, again, play the last one again just so we can talk about it. We're making sure we're going into internal rotation to external. You see her arm and hand rotating when she's going through that movement. Should be feeling that in the back of our shoulder, rotator cuff, all that is where you should be feeling that the most. You want to be also keeping pretty straight elbow through that, maybe slightly bent, but again, going internal rotation to external rotation and doing that on both sides. Next clip. So so we've hit our mobility part of our workout. Now we're going into our ballistic portion, which is right before our force or our main lift. So for the ballistic part, it's a little more powerful, explosive, a little plyometric, where we're trying to really prep our muscles and arms for our main forceful lifts. So this one I have for us today is just a ball chest pass. So you could do 1 or 2 arms, and a lot of different variations on what you have. So maybe if you're doing dumbbell bench that day, you want to do a 1-arm pass because you want to focus on that 1 arm pushing. If you're doing like a barbell bench press, you maybe want to do that 2-hand chest pass to work on those hands working in unison and shoulders working in unison. You can do like J-Mac there where he's throwing against the wall. Caitlin here, she's doing just laying down the back. This would be not as much of that forceful ballistic, but more of a stabilization kind of press. So again, say you're doing dumbbell bench that day, you want to focus on stabilizing those dumbbells. This would be a good thing to do right before that. Then she also goes into doing that 2-hand chest pass there to work on that explosiveness as well. Really want to focus on having controlled but explosive movements. You don't just want to be, if you were like John in the beginning and you're throwing the ball against the wall, you don't just want to be throwing your whole body into it and like that. You want to be keeping the rest of your body pretty seated or stationary and really just working on that shoulder and arm to forcefully push. Yes. If you were doing it seated, like John was there, and you're a lower class, you can always just sit in a chair with a back to it and strap in, and you'd be totally fine. You could also do it how Caitlin's doing it here, where you're laying down. Either would work fine. Next. So now we're in the force part of our lift. So this is our the meat of our lifts. This is the push and the pull kind of thing is what I like to think about it as. So our pushing is in our bench press, our pulling is in our rows. These are our main lifts because those are the kind of the main motions of wheelchair basketball. It's a lot of pushing, a lot of pulling for your ball chairs. First one we'll do here is our bench press. So most people have probably heard of bench press, seen bench press, maybe tried it out. You can do dumbbell, you can do barbell. If you don't have either of those, a body weight equivalent would be doing push-ups. I'm gonna pause it for a second. If we're looking at Caitlin's form here, when she's laying down on the bench, you really wanna be squeezing your shoulder blades before you start. When we have it racked up at the top, our arms should be about in line with our shoulders, hands in line with our shoulders. And then when we're coming down, we hit about mid-chest, and then we are pushing up. When our elbows don't want to be all the way up here at our shoulders, you know, for those scarecrows, I was saying elbows at our shoulders at 90, so that's 90 degrees right there. We want to bring it down to about 75 degrees. When we're up here at 90, it's going to put a lot of stress on our shoulders. So bring it down a little bit, 75, you'll get a stronger push. You'll be able to use a little more of your chest to push it. So make sure you're not all the way up there. As well, if you're spotting or trying to work on your form, a good way to look at your form is if you're looking either from, this isn't exactly the side, but we want to make sure that Caitlin's forearms are vertical at the bottom and vertical at the top. They shouldn't be angled backwards or forwards. And that's looking pretty good from there. I bet if we went to the left a little more and looked down at straight on the side, you'd see they'd probably be pretty vertical. We can play that. Don't want to be arching your back too much. And you want to keep your head neutral, looking straight up. Here's John doing his. Again, squeezing the bar, squeezing the shoulder blades, pushing up with that chest. Keeping his elbows a little less than 90, looks pretty good for him. And then, what a great spotter there. Okay, anything else? Oh, last thing on bench press, breathing. So a lot of people will struggle with the breathing when they're doing it. You do want to hold your breath for a portion of the lift to really get that abdominal pressure and get that extra force. Kind of general rule of thumb is, so when you have your bar at the top here, we breathe in and then we come down and you're kind of holding through that motion, pressing up. And when you kind of get to the top again, you exhale. Take a second, breathe in, again, next rep, hold through to get that extra abdominal pressure, get to the top, exhale. And if you're struggling a lot, like say it's your last rep and you're trying to get it up, you're struggling, and it's taking a couple of seconds. At that point, you might want to take a breath in and take a couple of breaths to really try to get that last effort. But for the most part, if you're kind of going smoothly, you hold your breath throughout most of the motion there and then exhale back at the top. And I think that hits everything on bench press. But again, that's our main lift. And then what we like to do is go back to back. So this would be an antagonist lift to our bench press and our push. Bench press push is going forward. So now we want to work the opposite muscles of that. Again, if we just do bench press every day, all day, our shoulders are going to be hunched forward. We're going to have impingement in the front of our shoulders. So we really want to work on, again, doing back as well. I like to do at least one, if not two back exercises for every push exercise we do. So this is our reverse of our bench press is our row. So again, we had the supine scarecrow. These are the prone rows. So we're laying face down. So here's Caitlin. She's doing her rows. You do a dumbbell. Again, you can do it with a bar, whatever works. As long as you're doing that pulling motion, you can do a cable TheraBand seated pulling. When she's holding the dumbbells like this, you can pause it for a second. When she's holding the dumbbells like this, it's going to cause her elbow to come a little closer to her body. So it's not the exact same angle as that bench press motion. So we're not out at 75, we're a little closer, but imagine if she was doing that with a bar instead, her elbows are going to be at that 75. It's just that hand placement and rotation that causes the elbows to come down a little bit closer to the body. But again, at the beginning, we have these kind of cool tables where you're able to kind of lean over the end and do both arms at once. If you're not, and you just have a table or you're doing it at home off a couch or a bed, this is just a one-arm version. With those, you really want to be squeezing your back and using your back to pull, as opposed to kind of using your biceps and just lugging them up that way. Or if you're doing it like a one hand like this, you don't really want to be rocking too much or twisting your body to pull it up. You kind of want to keep everything else stable and just pulling up that way. You can play it. So you see her doing that one arm row. You really feel that in your shoulder blades, squeezing your scap together at the top. This is John. He's doing the bent over row. So if you're able to, just another version where you're bending over, doing that one arm row, switching over, doing the other side. For the bench press and for the rows, we'll see it again at the end, but generally if you're starting out lifting, you're gonna wanna do about 3 sets of 10. As you progress and get stronger, once you get out of that like intra-cycle, you might up your weight and drop those reps a little bit. But when you're first starting, 3 sets of 10 is perfect, and that's the sweet spot you want to be in. We can go next. So our other portion of our main force lifts is our shoulder press. Again, this will be going straight up in the air. I guess the most sport-specific motion you do with this is maybe you're shooting or something like that, or passing or catching something above your head. We can play it, Matt. And so we see Caitlin here sitting. She's doing a dumbbell shoulder press. We mainly do just dumbbell shoulder press, not as much barbell, but you want your elbows in line with our shoulders. So directly, if you're looking for the side, they should be, when you're down at the bottom, they should be in place. You don't want to be arching your back too much and keeping your head pretty neutral, maybe looking up just a little bit to help get your chest into it a little more. But nice and controlled. You want to really start, I wouldn't jump to a really high weight on these right away. You want to go back like midway. I wouldn't jump to like a really high weight, just because when you do have the weights overhead like that, it can be a little dangerous if you do fail on one or you lose control of it and it goes back. You want to really gain your strength and form first before you move up to higher weights with this. You also see, go back to Caitlin, sorry. So for Caitlin, we have her strapped in there just because she's a lower class player. We want to make sure she doesn't lose her balance or anything like that when you have those weights overhead. But again, as long as you have a strap or something like that to strap in, you should be able to do all these motions, do the shoulder press, and get strong. But yeah, we can probably just go to the next one if we can. So again, like with our bench press, and then we did our antagonist motion of the row. Now we did our shoulder press. Now we're doing our antagonist motion of the lat pull down. So we're doing, again, that pulling, that back, just doing the opposite exercise of what we did. We can play that. So we're using the cable machine for this and using this bar where lat pull down bar that Caitlin's grabbing there and just pulling down with these. Again, you don't just want to use your biceps, you want to squeeze that back together. Pause it for a second. Go back to like when she was holding the bar and just pause it there, yeah. So she's coming down and she's going to be really squeezing her back when she gets to the bottom and not just pulling it down to here and going right here. You want to squeeze, stick that chest out and squeeze those shoulder blades together. You should be feeling it in your back, not in your shoulders as much and not in your biceps either. Let's see, we'll go to the next one to play. So I know everyone doesn't have a lat pull down bar. So if you just have a cable or a TheraBand, you could do a one arm lat pull down that way. Again, you really want to be squeezing the back at the end of that motion because it's pretty easy to just go here. But at the end, you really have to extend that arm a little bit and squeeze that back. So you see you're doing it, just coming down, and really that little extra oomph at the end of really squeezing that shoulder blade on that side. And you'd obviously do both sides with that. Another alternative to this lat pull down, which is, you'll see it's kind of the same motion, you can go ahead, are just doing some overhand pull-ups. You can play it. It's this, again, when you see John doing these, it's that same motion, but instead of your hands moving, it's your body moving. So you're still doing that pull down motion. And this is probably the more advanced version. So if you can't do 10 pull-ups like this, you can take off some body weight. Play it again. You can take off some body weight with a resistance band attached to the bar and attached to your feet to maybe help you out doing that. Or if not, I'd maybe work on your lat pull downs until you're strong enough with that motion to be able to do some of your pull-ups here. I know depending on how much you weigh and other things, you may be able to do less or more pull-ups. And it's really not important of the number. I think I put 2 sets of 10 down on there. But if you weigh less and you're able to do 20 pull-ups, no problem, you should be doing to 20, not just the 10 where it's really easy. If you weigh more and you get to 6 and you're struggling, that's good. It's more of a thing to failure that we usually do. So you're just working to whatever you can and trying every time you get back on the bar to try to do one more. So as long as you're progressing and getting stronger and working towards it, that's the goal. But that's kind of another alternative. You might have a bar or something like that at home that you could do if you don't have a big cable machine like that. Next one. So those were our 4 lifts. We had 4 main lifts there. So now this is kind of our accessories portion, working on some smaller muscle groups and different muscle groups all over the body. So first are some shoulder exercises. These are going to be kind of similar to some of the muscle activation things we did in the beginning. It's going to be a lot of rotator cuff, a lot of posterior shoulder blades. Again, we really want to try to strengthen that back to try to help with our shoulder health. Go ahead. So first one we have here is our TheraBand face pulls. So this is a favorite of mine where you're grabbing in front and we're pulling back. Do you want to pause it next time when she gets to the back? And then so she's pulling and getting back. So if you see that motion there, she has the TheraBands in front of her. Again, lower class players, you can see here, all you have to do is just strap into a back chair like that if you're at risk of pulling and going forward. So just strap in right there. But she's grabbing in front of her. And then you see at the end, remember earlier we were talking about externally rotating and getting those thumbs pointed backwards. So you can really see at the end there, she has those thumbs pointed backwards. Another thing we want to do, if you want to run it back a little bit and then just play it, it kind of sounds weird, but you want to try to lead with your hands. So she's trying to, it won't beat your elbows back there, but you want to try to have those hands lead your elbow instead of bringing your elbow back and then going there. This is another view here. We can really see John squeezing his shoulder blades together there, squeezing that back and getting those thumbs pointed backwards. Hands right around his ears and elbows right at about his shoulders right there. So that's a good look at that. We'll play that again. Yep. And you can see those back muscles really squeezing. And this is going to work a lot of that posterior shoulder, external rotators, and scapular muscles there. A lot of that mid to upper back is a really good exercise for that. Next. This may be one that more people have heard of or seen or done. Just I-wise W's or T's. I kind of did both because that face pull is pretty similar to a W. So maybe if we were doing face pulls that day, we would do I-wise T's instead. But both work, and we'll show both of them here. Again, this is a rotator cuff, posterior shoulder. So he's doing that I motion. So he's going up, I, thumbs back again, you see, Y, and then W. So it's a face pull motion, but I, Y, and W with that. So thumbs back on all of those. Here's Caitlin showing it with just some dumbbells instead, laying prone, laying face down. She's doing I, Y, and then T there. All these, as you get to the top, you really want to squeeze those shoulder blades together, squeeze that back, and maybe hold it up there for maybe a second longer than Caitlin's doing. But kind of how she's laying is making it hard. You can go back again a little bit for her. How she's laying is making it hard, especially for her eyes, to get all the way up there and keep her arms straight. But you want to try to keep those arms straight instead of bent when we're doing those motions. But I think it's just how she's laying down angled a little bit is making it difficult on her shoulders to do that motion. Again, those are kind of similar to, yeah, we don't have to play them again, but those are kind of similar to like the back versus wall, where you look at that and you're like, oh, that can't be that hard. That's easy. Like I remember last summer we had some people start doing that and they're like, oh yeah, I'll take a 5-pound dumbbell. And I was like, no, do it with just your hands first. And they're like, oh, they did one set of 10 or 15. And they're like, yeah, I'll stick with just hands. I don't need any weight. So it looks a lot easier than it is once you try that out a couple of times. So again, with a lot of these lifts, don't hop right into the heavy weight, grabbing some dumbbells. Start with just body weight, start with some light dumbbells. Once you get that form down good and it like feels good to do, then we can maybe move up to a 2 or 3 pound dumbbell. Like you see Caitlin there, she had 3-pound dumbbells, and that's probably what you would normally use for that. And she's been lifting a long time, doing a lot of strength programs, all that, playing for a long time, and she's still just using 3-pound dumbbells. So I wouldn't feel pressured to try to lift big weights for these. A lot of these accessory lifts are more about working smaller muscle groups. So it's more about your form and strengthening those smaller muscles and really targeting them than putting up big weight for these. Yes, good. So now we'll do some core exercises. Usually put these towards the end just to kind of end out with core. Once you work everything else, last kind of things we do core, then we'll do some wrist stuff. Usually we'll do 2 to 3 core exercises per lift. I will preface, a lot of them are dependent on like class and what you feel the most when you're doing these exercises. Some people can do planks and they're like, oh yeah, I really feel these planks. Some people go to do a plank and they're like, yeah, I don't feel anything. I'm just laying here. So it really depends on your class. And a lot of these you can kind of tailor to what works for you. But we'll kind of give a couple, and then there's tons of variations. If you have any questions, we can go over those later. But I think usually we'll do one kind of like plank variation. So that's gonna be the first one we're doing here. So kind of really working on just like core stability, and it's not as much of that movement, but so you could just do like J-Mac is doing their hands on the ground. He's doing a little more advanced one where you're doing shoulder touches while you're doing that. I'm gonna go back to J-Mac for a second, just pause it there. And so you could just do your hands like that on the ground. You could do forearms on the ground. Doing that motion, you could do lifting up one leg, one arm, whatever works for you. But doing that probably like 30 seconds to a minute, trying to keep increasing that time. And really you want to try to keep back flat and from your head down to your feet in kind of a straight line. You don't want there to be a big hump. You don't want there to be a big dip. And yeah, that just really trying to contract your core, abs, whatever you can when you're doing this motion, and not just letting your shoulders bear the brunt of it, really squeezing that core to help out with that stability. You can play. And then Caitlin here is doing a little different variation. Again, you could do arms on a ball. You could do your feet on a ball, do your arms on the ground. With that, usually I would come over there and hit it around a little bit to make it harder for her, just to make that stability harder for her. She can also herself, pause it for a second. She can also, it's fine, yeah. She could roll out, she kind of did it there a little bit, roll out, roll in, roll around in a circle, do movements like that. But whatever plank variation works for you, we should do one kind of these, because that is more that core stability and abdominal, just like strength and like more of that stability stuff, not as much the real muscular, powerful things that most people try to do. Okay. And then after that, our other core exercises will either be like a flexion, kind of like sit up, crunch kind of thing, or a rotational kind of movement. So the first one here is just a ball sit up. You can play it, Matt. So Caitlin here is doing this, feet strapped in, and she's grabbing that ball, stretching all the way back, stretching out that core, and then exploding up, throwing it to me. Again, try not to just use your shoulders, but using your core to pull yourself up. For this, you need a partner, but like if you didn't, you could just hold that ball and bring it back and going up and down. You could just start with normal crunches, normal sit-ups, but for those, I'll see a lot of times people just kind of bobbing their head up and down. You want to make sure you're not moving your neck and more of contracting that core to move the rest of your body and keeping your neck kind of in neutral when you're doing that. But this would be one example of like a flexion, really contracting those abs movement. Next, here's a rotational one, med ball crossbody toss. Go ahead. So this is John, he's grabbing the med ball on one side and throwing it across. Again, not just using your shoulders to throw it across and staring forward. You want to rotate that core and pull across really hard to really feel it on your sides. It's a heavy med ball and John's going across, explosively pulling it. When you're thinking about this, like I like to add in the rotational aspects or different lifts, just because a lot of times it's a movement you do in your ball chair. You have to reach down to the side to grab a ball. You have to reach back for a ball or a pass, something like that. So you're trying to twist a lot. So if a lower class player is doing this, again, all you gotta do, get a chair with a back, strap them in, and again, as much rotation as they can do, they'll try to do. They can still get work out of it. It's just because they don't think they have the full ab function, they can still get some strength gains from it. So I would still go through it with them. Another option to this, if you don't have, you can just keep it there, but another option would be like a Russian twist where you're kind of sitting and just touching the ball side to side would be another rotational core exercise you could do. Next one. So I put this in here. This is one of our class 1's players, Dago. This is his favorite core exercise because he says he doesn't really feel a lot of the other core exercises. So this is a seated balance catch. We'll do this one a lot. Basically, if we play it, you'll have the athlete sit there and you'll kind of toss them a ball. We're just using a basketball. My tosses there are pretty easy. Usually I like to make them a little harder where they have to go reach and grab it and keep balance, bring it back, toss it back. So I'll throw overhead, throw it to the side. You want to challenge them with that and have them try to keep their balance. So maybe if they don't have all that core function, it's more about keeping that balance. Same thing they would do in their ball chair. If they're reaching for a ball, they want to have that balance to be able to catch that ball, reel it in. So that's one that we'll do with some of the class 1s and other lower class players if they don't feel like they're getting as much out of the other core exercises. Okay. Last part of our accessory lifts are forearm wrists. Really important to work on your grip strength and forearm strength. I know in my couple of years here, we've seen a lot of forearm wrist injuries, and I think the more you're able to work on that strength before you start up and really get a good base of strength in our forearms, it won't prevent, but it will limit the forearm injuries you may incur later. Because you're doing a lot of gripping, a lot of pushing, a lot of squeezing, and it's putting a lot of pressure and stress on forearm and wrist. So the first one we have here is a pretty simple one that everyone can do at home, just tennis ball squeezes. You can use a stress ball too, but you're just squeezing those tennis balls as hard as you can, really squeezing those forearms, holding for like 5 seconds, and then doing that 10 to 20 times, wherever you're really feeling a burn there. This is an easy one where if you wanted to work on this, you're watching Netflix, something else, and you're just sitting there, you could just be squeezing those tennis balls for a while to really work on that grip strength. You have some big Popeye forearms. But there's a nice easy one. That's going to be more of just that grip, working on that grip strength. You can also see on the back wall, we have some of those grip trainers as well. Those work too if you have those, but so the tennis ball would be easier because easier to find, easier to have at home. Next one is just some forearm flexion extension. We're using a dumbbell. You could use a can, anything else that is weighted and handheld. You just play that mat, and you're going to be basically holding your forearm on a stable surface. You could put it on your lap as long as your wrist is free to move. And so this is our flexion, where we're palm up, coming up, and then we're flipping there to extension, where we are palm down and pulling up. You see, and that's working his extensors in his forearm there. So again, with these, I would see you want to challenge yourself. I think he's using a 15 right there, but I would do around a 10 to 15. And by that 10 to 15 rep mark, you should be feeling a burn in your forearms. If you're not, go up a little weight. But really working on those, just doing, I think in this we did 2 sets of 10. So again, not going overboard with just doing it all the time, but throwing these in every couple workouts to work on that forearm strength and kind of giving it some overpressure to get stronger in our forearms and wrists. Next. So that was the end of our general workout. I think that was about 13 or 14 different exercises. I just put at the end here, sometimes we'll add on a specific exercise at the end because it is a goal they're working for. If it is they're having trouble with their shot and their shot isn't reaching the basket, or they want to extend their range, they can shoot in the key, but they want to shoot threes and they want to get that shooting motion stronger. Or if they want to get faster and really work on their pushing strength. These are some different specific exercises I'll have people throw in at the end to try to work on that and gain that like really sport specific, goal specific motion. So first one here is ball presses. So this will be for our shooting form. So here, Caitlin just has a basketball and she's just holding it here, pressing up and really working on that anterior shoulder strength and that shooting motion. If you were trying to work on more of the power aspect and getting more strength behind your shot, you'd probably want to do a higher weight med ball, maybe like a 5 to 10 pound med ball, and just do a set of 10. If we've had some athletes who are like, hey, by end of the second quarter, end of the fourth quarter, my shot is falling short every time. It's not getting to the hoop. I don't have that muscle endurance in my shoulder. I've been shooting the whole game. I just can't get it there anymore. Then you might want to do a lower weight like the basketball and just work on 20 to 30 reps of the real low weight to work on the muscular endurance. So you kind of want to decide if you're looking for more of that muscular endurance and longevity or that power in that one shot, really getting it forward, working on trying to work on your threes or just getting up to the hoop for some of the younger athletes. Next. So this would be more of working on our push speed. This is our decline cable press. It's gonna be working on our chest power, and it's kind of like our bench press is trying to almost mimic our pushing motion when we're pressing. but if we play this, I think this is a little more specific where your hand's kind of free and you're pressing downwards as you would in that push. So it's really going to target that chest, going to target the front of your shoulder there. And you can see J-Mac, he's really exploding through that push. Try to really make it powerful. But then because it's a free weight like that and your hand can be moving around, it's you have to work on that like stability of that push as well. So this is one I would do for trying to work on push speed and things like that. Next, we have a similar one, just kind of a different way to do it is just a dips. Should be pretty familiar to everyone, but play it, Matt. Again, if you see her motion when she's doing this, it's the same general motion, except the opposite body part is fixed. So instead of her body being fixed and her hand moving around, this is her hands being fixed and her body is moving. But you can still see when if you imagined her pushing like that, it would kind of be a similar motion. With the dips here, when she gets to the bottom on one, pause it. You want to be careful sometimes because it can sometimes make your shoulders vulnerable to injury. You see here, this one is a little lower, but usually you don't want to go lower than our elbow there. So when she hits about that elbow height with her shoulder, that's about as far as you want to go. If you're getting lower than that, you're putting a lot of stress and basically your whole body weight on your shoulder while it's all the way back in that position. And that can cause a lot of problems. So you just want to be careful of that, keeping our body upright and really coming down to about our elbow and then pressing up using our chest and not just our shoulders with that. So you want to focus on our chest when we're pushing as well. Yeah. And again, this is kind of like similar, since it's a body weight, it's kind of similar to the pull-ups where depending on how much you weigh, you could do, we had an athlete who did 83 dips, but not everyone can do that. I can't do that. And so this is kind of another one where it's probably to failure and it's going to be individualized. Some people are doing sets of 8 and some people are doing sets of 20. It just depends. So that kind of brings us to the end of our workout. Again, that's a general strength training, what we would do here on a normal day. It obviously vary throughout the season depending on where we're at. But yeah, it's kind of a good starter and a good place to start for lifting. I think we're doing questions next.
Yeah, actually, thank you, Connor. That was awesome. Really love all the videos and the instruction that we've got going on. I think Matty Ice is going to throw up the list of workouts again up on the screen so that those that didn't catch it at the beginning can catch it again, and then make sure that they can screenshot that if they need to and see those different exercises. But yeah, we want to jump into questions. And I think the first one that would be a really good one is that the current group that we're talking to right now is a part of our individual skills camp. So usually we have athletes that are from 18, 19 years old down to maybe 13 years old. And I think it'd be really good to talk a little bit about, by age-wise, when we might want to start doing some of the strength training compared to flexibility or just working with shoulder exercises to kind of get things moving, and knowing that because we're not at our in-person camp, we might have some athletes that are younger than that demographic or older than demographic. So we're going to talk a little bit about age and then the difference between flexibility and strength training.
Yeah, definitely. I would say it's usually recommended that you don't start like heavy lifting, benching, things like that until you hit around like puberty age, so around 13 to 14. So if you're younger than that, you're still able to do things to better yourself and get stronger, but I would just keep it to light dumbbells, like 5 pounds, 10 pounds and under, just doing body weight stuff, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, things like that. But I wouldn't be loading them up big on the bench press or other things, or any of the band work would be perfect for those younger age groups. I think once you're past that age, getting more into end of middle school, high school is when usually you'll start kind of getting into more of your strength training like this and doing more of those force lifts. I think so kind of most of the other things we did out there, other than the force lifts, are probably things that our younger athletes can do.
Awesome. Yeah. And then also talking a little bit about shoulder health in general, because we know that here at the University of Illinois, we are working on performance and trying to make our athletes the best that they can be and strong as they can be. But we also understand too that the overall health of our shoulders, especially those that are using a day chair for the majority of their time, that's going to be something for longevity of life that we want to make sure that they protect themselves and their shoulders. So if you could talk a little bit about some of the things that we do in order to protect our athletes' shoulders in that way.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but I'll revisit it. So again, in general, a lot of this population of athletes is a lot of forward shoulder, rounded shoulders, because it's a lot of pushing, a lot of internal rotation of the shoulders. So the biggest thing that we try to do is a lot of strengthening of our external rotators of our shoulders. So our rotator cuff and our scapular muscles in the back. Those are what get forgotten a lot. Of people are like, oh, I need to bench, push, I need to really get strong on this bench. And they won't do any of those reverse antagonist motions. So it's a lot of those rows. It's a lot of those external rotation, those face pulls, where we're really squeezing our shoulder blades together. And that's a thing we like to focus on. I think I said it earlier, but I like to do personally, for every like one pushing exercise, I like to do usually 2 pulling exercises, 2 back exercises. Because if you think about it, yeah, we want to work on that pushing for our pushing in our ball chairs and such, but you're getting that a lot through the day. If you use a wheelchair during the day, in the ball chair, during your whole practice, all you're doing is pushing, 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 pushing. So you really need to focus on some of those reverse motions and pulling back in that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. The balance of the shoulders is huge. And like Connor had mentioned, just we do so much forward motion and all the pushing that we do, we've got to balance it out. And that is with strength, but it's also with just stretching in general and working on that pulling motion back. Another question to be talking about too is, the majority of the videos and things that we've seen is our student athletes working in our lifting gym with guidance view there for spotting. But I'd love to talk a little bit about what a athlete would do before they go into a shooting workout. Let's say a lot of these guys and ladies are going to be going on court in the near future, and that might be an outdoor court or in the gym. And instead of just rolling onto the court and start shooting basketballs up, what are some things that they could do to warm themselves up and get themselves prepared for working out in the gym? And then maybe some exercise equipment, some things that you might recommend that they could bring to the gym to get those stretches in.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that was kind of our warm-up portion. I would usually start with maybe like a static stretch kind of thing. One I like doing, which is super easy, you could do at any gym or wherever. We're just doing like some, kind of move over here, do it. Still to me. Some wall reach backs, where we're again opening up the front of that shoulder before we do some of these motions. You're just reaching back, coming back, reaching, really trying to stretch out those pecs, stretch out your front of your shoulders. After you do some static stretching like that, maybe you do a static stretch across over the top. Once you do those for a couple of minutes, go into more that cardio portion. So pushing around in your ball chair, maybe 2 to 3 minutes of just some jogging, pushing, nice and easy, getting into the motions, and then 1 to 2 minutes of some more higher intensity pushing. You don't want the first time you like really start sprinting is when coach yells at you to, hey, we're doing this drill, get going. And that's the first time you're really sprinting. You want to do some of that beforehand. So your body is used to that motion and your body is, feels good to do those motions. So you don't have any, you don't have your hand slip and you hurt your shoulder or something like that. So that's really important. After that cardio portion, I talk a lot about like a band, having just a cutout TheraBand or a TheraTube or something like that would be perfect to do those. If you remember, Caitlin was doing those pull aparts, doing those reverse flies to, again, before we start, maybe our back muscles and scap muscles are kind of relaxed and not really firing. We want to get those firing and ready to go so they're engaged while we're doing our pushing too. Again, it's not just going forward and pushing. You want the shoulders to be in a good position to have a powerful push. So you need those back muscles engaged.
Awesome. Thank you, Connor. This is a great session. I'm already seeing the comments, a lot of people really enjoying it and getting a lot out of it. Just to kind of give a wrap up and to tell you guys some information, all the videos that we have had for all this week, whether it's individual, premier, coaching clinic sessions, will all be available through our YouTube channel that will be all set up probably toward the middle end of next week. So keep an eye out for that, for those to be going. And that's how you'll be able to come back, watch some of these video clips, and put together your own type of workouts at home to get things going. Other things to talk about is our next session and our last session of our virtual camp for this week will be our Illini alumni Q&A that we'll be working with 4 of our alumni to come in and answer some questions from them. So we recommend and ask for you guys to come back and watch that. That will be live on Facebook, but then also if you register for it through Zoom, you are eligible to be winning a giveaway prize, an Illini giveaway prize. So we might make sure that you're registered for that so you have a chance of winning. One of the last things is I want to give a shout out to Matty Ice Poland, who has been running all the video and tech stuff for us for this week when it comes to Zoom, putting together videos and organizing things. It's really been helpful on that. So giving a shout out to Matty Ice on that. But again, thanks, Connor, for giving us this information. And if you guys have any other questions or everything, you can always contact us through social media, and we can give you some ideas of what we do here if you have any other questions too. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming out. I know there's a couple questions that we didn't get to, but if you do want to reach out to me, my email is dohert15@illinois.edu. So Matt has just typed that in there. So if you do want to send any questions over to me, be happy to answer them, help you out however I can, but I know we're running a little short on time here. But appreciate everyone coming out. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you guys, and we will see you on the next session.